Hello, I'm Canon EOS photographer, Randall and Rueff. In this video, talking about the Canon EOS-1DX, I want to draw your attention to the display that is on the bottom left-hand side of the camera. Here it's pictured in the center of the page, obviously. In this view, we can see a better view of it, closer up. And on the left side, we've got basically the type of file that your camera is going to produce when taking photographs, whether it be large, medium, small, JPEG or RAW. Then, of course, the one's for the first card, and the second is for the second compact flash card. Then, of course, you have the folder number and the file number, and the wireless and the Bluetooth, and the standard definition, full HD, or just high def setting. But what I really want to talk about in this one is the GPS. As you can see there at the top middle. And this is a very simplistic display of what GPS is and can do. And I think in future cameras, they have a lot of room for improvement. It's simple in its display here, and that's kind of neat in one way, the simplicity of it. However, I would like a display just for the GPS information. For example, GPS via satellite gives you altitude, latitude, longitude, and with this with the current technology of GPS attachments that can be added to the camera, whether on the side or on the top, even gives the atomic clock time as well as the orientation of the camera. So you know if you're shooting at, say, 0 degrees or 25 degrees or 180 degrees, it tells which angle the camera is pointed. So you know the altitude, your latitude, longitude, basically where you're at. Then it tells you that gives you the correct time via the atomic clock, and I think they keep the atomic clock is in Boston, Massachusetts, I believe. Then it also gives the orientation or the direction in which the camera is pointing. So there's a lot of information covered by GPS. Now all this does is show the fact that the GPS is connected to the camera. However, I would like to see in future models, granted I assume in future models, that the GPS is going to be built into the camera and not an accessory feature. That's just a foregiven conclusion based on the fact there are some other cameras, in fact a lot of other cameras, not only from Canon but Nikon and Sony and Apple's iPhone. I mean, there's a lot of cameras and smartphones out there that are using GPS technology to geotag their pictures, as well as do a lot of other functions for the phone or for the camera. What I would like to see is in the case of the 1DX or its successors, I should say, whatever comes after, is a dedicated GPS slot where it displays it. For example, this is some idea. For example, the first line can be like altitude, and it would show your altitude in feet or meters or both. Then it would show the next line in longitude or altitude. I said altitude. Latitude for one line, then longitude for another line, and then say the time in another line, and another line would be your camera orientation, whether it's 50 degrees or 90 degrees or 85, and have that in a separate display just for the GPS information. And that would be very handy. You could not only would it geotag your photos, but you could sit there and read the information and write it down and basically use it as a GPS to know your location, mark your location on maps. Not only on the, like I said, geotagging the photo, but you'd be able to sit there and write down and kind of use it as a GPS device if that needed to arise, so you know where you're at. Or if you need to go to a certain GPS location, you can say, here's where I am, here's where I need to go, etc. So I think there's a lot of possibilities with the GPS that haven't been realized, and I'm hoping that they will make greater use, in fact, create a separate display just for the GPS and its features, and having more features like this would make it a better camera. I mean, you'd be able to have more usability, and I think the more options you give the photographer, in this case, a photographer. I mean, obviously, if you're doing GPS, it would always be a photographer, but in this case, you're having a GPS on the camera, so it would give the photographer or the person using the camera a lot greater ability and give them more information. And if they don't need the information, it's no big deal. If you don't want the information, or if you don't want your photographs geotagged, just turn it off. Maybe, I know like on the iPhone they have a thing where if you don't want your photographs geotagged, it's in a setting, you just turn your setting to geotag off, and it doesn't record it with the information. So I can imagine why in some, whether you're just wanting to use it for general location to record where you took your pictures, or I can imagine for military use where they want to they want to know if they're surveilling a terrorist or a enemy or a bad person, or for police use too. They could this is where we took the picture, this is where they're hiding out, blah blah blah. There's a lot of uses for GPS, both military and non-military, and for cameras in the future. And I hope Canon will drastically update how it's used, and drastically more importantly, update and make either a bigger display that can display the information, or a separate display altogether just for the GPS information. That is my hope. So until next time, I'm Randall. Thanks for watching. Have a good day, and may God bless you. Goodbye.